What? Ziyu heard that Grandpa told her not to look anymore, and asked incomprehensibly, Grandpa, why? Elijah said vaguely, it won't be any good for you to keep looking, so it's better to just forget it. Ziyu frowned and said very persistently, Grandpa, what I'm looking for is my savior and brother. He saved our lives, so I will look for him anyway, even if I can't find him, I will not give up either. Elijah was a little anxious, and said solemnly, it's not whether you can find him or whether you cannot find him. This is a question of your own future safety, Ziyu asked suspiciously. My future is safe? What does this have to do with my future? Elijah said seriously. Master Kinghawa said, you are in conflict with his fate, and his fate is much harder and higher than yours, so it's nothing if you don't find him. Once you find him, it's like a moth. Fight the fire, you are the one who is injured in the end. Ziyu immediately retorted, Grandpa, I don't mean anything to target your old man, but I think what Master Kinghawa said is pure nonsense. As she said, she continued without hesitation, my benefactor saved my life. If it is true that Master Kinghawa said, I am a moth and he is a raging fire, then why did I not burn to death by him, instead he saved me? I see Master Kinghawa just talking about it. Elijah sighed and said, hey. How can you change the fate? It's true that he saved you, but that was before. Master Kinghawa counted for you, it is the future. Ziyu retorted without hesitation, I don't care about what will not come in the future. I only know that he saved my life. I want to find him and thank him face to face. It's as simple as that, even if I and him are really dead. It doesn't matter if you conflict, the big deal is that I will return this life to him. Elijah rarely reprimanded, little girl. Don't talk nonsense here. What Master Kinghawa said is not a joke, you must listen. Ziyu shook her head and said firmly, these are all pseudo-scientific feudal superstitions, I don't listen. Leona said with a serious face, little girl, the gossip of the Book of Changes is the supreme wisdom of the ancestors. It is by no means a feudal superstition. Moreover, Master Kinghawa is the most famous feng shui master in the world. Yes. After all, Leona also said very solemnly, in my opinion, you don't want to keep looking anymore, stop here. Ziyu was anxious and said with red eyes, Mom. Why do you believe in these things? You are also a graduate of a prestigious university anyway, you should believe in science. Leona said very seriously, little girl, how do you know that Yijing gossip is not science? Ziyu blurted out, it's all a bunch of feudal superstitions. What kind of science is there? If there is a basis, why not tell me directly, where can I find my benefactor? He just told me about the fate. I don't want to believe in such things. Leona solemnly said, the Book of Changes and Gossip are a set of philosophies that the ancients derived after years of observing, studying, and summarizing the universe, all things, the stars and the sea. It can even be said to be science. Have you ever thought about why the Maya could accurately calculate every solar eclipse in the 21st century more than 3,000 years ago? What's even more powerful is that the calendar they calculated is almost exactly the same as the legislation calculated by modern science. The error is even as small as every 5,000 years, only one day away. Do you think this is also feudal superstition? Ziyu suddenly didn't know how to refute it, so she could only make a strong statement. There is no actual basis for this kind of thing, and I will definitely not believe it anyway. Leona sighed at this time and said in a serious tone, when our generation was young, we had a relatively objective understanding of Eastern and Western culture. We never blindly believed that the West is better or the East is better, but look at problems with an objective and dialectical perspective. But with your generation of children born in the 90s and even after the zeros, Western culture has begun to take full control. You believe in science and the internet, but you don't believe in the essence of your ancestors for thousands of years, and gradually put the set of things left by your ancestors into the category of old feudal superstitions. This in itself is a kind of ignorance. Embodiment, Ziyu retorted with some dissatisfaction. According to the old ancestors, does everything have a so-called fate? Is it that what I eat today and where I go are all destined for a long time? Leona said seriously, you think that everything in the world has no fate, and everything is my fate, but I can't help it. But have you ever thought about it, as small as a gravel, as large as the entire universe, are using own set of rules to continue? The more you look at the operation of the world, the more its fate is unchangeable. Ziyu immediately asked, Mom, tell me, what is the lifespan of a gravel? It may stay in the desert, become a member of thousands of gravel, or sink into the river, or be carried into the sea by the river. It is more likely to be made into a piece of glass by humans and mixed into a piece of concrete by humans. Does the fate count for every gravel? Leona shook her head and said, I just said that fate should be viewed from a macro perspective, and must not be considered from a micro perspective. If you use a microscopic perspective, you will feel that the gravel is very small and not worth mentioning. There are so many gravel in the world, and it is impossible to plan a different destiny for each gravel. But do you know how many stars are like the sun in the universe? Ziyu looked blank. Leona said earnestly, Little girl, if you look at it from a microscopic view, you always feel that the gravel is too small to be worth mentioning, but if you look at it from a macroscopic view, you will find that even if the entire Earth, in the entire universe, it is just like gravel. Not even as good as a gravel. After all, Leona continued, don't you young people like to talk about science? Then I can tell you that there are about 2 trillion galaxies in the observable range and educated speculation range in the universe. You can hear clearly, it's 2 trillion, and every galaxy has at least hundreds of billions or even trillions of stars. The Sun is just one of the hundreds of billions of stars in the Milky Way. In the entire galaxy, the Sun is so ordinary that it cannot be extraordinary. In the entire universe, the Sun not as good as a gravel on the Earth. The stars in the universe like the Sun add up more than the gravel on the Earth, but you think there is too much gravel, so a small gravel is not worthy of life. Then I ask you, one is more a star that is 100 times larger than the Earth is just a cosmic gravel in the universe. Is it worthy of life? Leona's words made Ziyu as if struck by lightning, and he couldn't say a word. She had never used such a perspective to understand the whole world. She just tried to think about the entire macro universe in her mind, and she immediately felt her insignificance and ignorance. If the Sun is just the gravel in the universe, then the Earth can only be counted as a cosmic dust. If human beings are so small that they need to live in cosmic dust, then what are human beings? How much of the so-called science that humans can detect in this cosmic dust can represent everything in the world, the universe?